population of over 100 million people, the country is one of the last big markets that is still closed off to foreign capital in finance, telecoms, aviation, and even energy. Now, at least it was until June 2018 when the country's Prime Minister announced his intent to open up some of those sectors to foreign companies, while simultaneously selling minority stakes in some state-owned enterprises such as Ethiopian Airlines. Now, this month, the process to open up the telecom sector began in earnest. CGTN's Ramah Nyang explored the reform program earlier on with Zemedeneh Negatu, who is the chairman of the Fairfax Africa Fund.
I like to use the word more liberalization because I think it's an indication of what they're trying to achieve, which is inject efficiency, inject competitiveness, make these very large companies, state-owned companies, be competitive, not just in the local market, but in the regional market as well. So that we're starting to see clear results. This week, last week actually, the Ethiopian Parliament passed a proclamation establishing the telecom regulatory body and also the framework of what the market would look like when the telecom market opens up later this year.
Right, so walk us through what the liberalized, to use your term, the liberalized Ethiopian telecommunications sector will look like. Ethio Telecom, still the dominant player, 60 plus, I believe 60 million, over 60 million clients on that one company. 2 other licenses to be issued as well. What will the sector look like when we have this conversation next year?
So actually, when you and I have this next conversation, I hope it won't be a year from now, but let's say several months from now, very likely here in Ethiopia, if you were to come and visit Ethiopia, unlike in the past, as one of the government ministers said the other day at a conference, you'll probably have a SIM card that's non-Ethio Telecom, very likely, because that means the competitors, the market liberalization, the competition has already been introduced. So the estimate is maybe by first quarter of 2020, there will be definitely operators in the marketplace that have a name other than, in addition to Ethio Telecom. So that's what we're seeing. Now, how that works, at least based on the initial information that has been disclosed by the government in public and in the parliament and other places, is in the next few months, the expectation is tender or tenders will be announced for, as far as the government's announcement is concerned, there will be 2 new licenses, 2 brand new licenses, and a partial privatization of Ethio Telecom. That's the scenario that I think everybody's expecting based on official announcements made by government officials.
Right. What about the partial privatization bit for Ethio Telecom? Because, I mean, it's all well and good for foreign entrants to come into the market, but with regard to Ethio Telecom, do we have any idea of what percentage of the company the government would probably want to offload onto private entities, or what kind of buyers they want to come in?
Right. In terms of percentage, I mean, the only thing that we know for a fact is what was been said in the past, that was been repeatedly mentioned by government officials. Majority will be owned by the government and private investors will be in the minority. Now, majority could be in 50.0001%. So, but at least it's the concept actually that's important, which is they would like the government to retain the majority of Ethio Telecom. Now, by the way, I want to emphasize something here. This is a unique telco privatization for one important reason. It's the last large, still monopoly telecom market of this size in the world today. So if you talk to the CEOs of all these companies I mentioned, that's one of the major attractions for them. You're looking at a country of about 108 million people. As you mentioned in your intro, Ethio Telecom is already the largest in-country operator in Africa. However, the upside is still very substantial. They do have about 61, 62 million customers, of which 42 million are active users. So when you look at 108 million, you can see the upside in terms of numbers first, but in terms of dollars and cents as well. Look at, I remember I had this conversation with you last time. Safaricom has about 30 million subscribers, but its revenue is double Ethio Telecom.
It's twice as much as what
Ethio
actually makes.
Exactly. So there's, yes, pricing flexibility is here now to add, to provide additional value-added services. So this is why I think all the big telcos are excited about entering the Ethiopian market. both in terms of the absolute numbers of increasing customers, but also increasing revenue and offering wider services for much more